There's much that we can create, much that we can do together. We believe that American energy can help realize India's nuclear power production goals, and this is very important, as well as its AI ambitions. Because as the United States knows well, and I know that India knows well, there is no AI future without energy security and energy dominance. And that brings me to my final point of collaboration. I believe that the technological collaboration between our countries is going to extend well beyond defense and energy. The U.S.-India Trust Initiative that President Trump and Prime Minister Modi have launched will be a cornerstone of the partnership in the future. It'll build on billions of dollars of planned investments that American companies have already announced across India. In the years to come, we're going to see data centers, pharmaceuticals, undersea cables, and countless other critical goods being developed and being built because of the American and Indian economic partnership. And I'll say it again, I think that our nations have so much to gain by investing in one another. America investing in India, and of course, India investing in the United States of America. And I know that Americans, our people, are excited about that prospect, and that President Trump and I are looking forward to stronger ties. Americans want further access to Indian markets. This is a great place to do business, and we want to give our people more access to this country. And Indians, we believe, will thrive from greater commerce in the United States. This is very much a win-win partnership. It certainly will be far into the future. And as I know this audience knows better than most, neither Americans nor Indians are alone in looking to scale up their manufacturing capacity. The competition extends well beyond cheap consumer goods and into munitions, energy, infrastructure, and all sorts of other cutting-edge technologies. I believe that if our nations fail to keep pace, the consequences for the Indo-Pacific, but really the consequences for the entire world, will be quite dire. And this, again, is where India and the United States have so much to offer one another. We've got great hardware, the leading artificial intelligence hardware in the world. You have one of the most exciting startup technology infrastructures anywhere in the world. There's a lot to be gained by working together. And this is why President Trump and I both welcome India's leadership in a number of diplomatic organizations, but of course in the Quad. We believe a stronger India means greater economic prosperity, but also greater stability across the Indo-Pacific, which is of course a shared goal for all of us in this room, and is a shared goal for both of our countries. I want to close with one last story, or maybe a couple of stories. So, you know, my son Ewan is 7 years old. He's our firstborn son. And yesterday, after we had dinner at the Prime Minister's house, the food was so good, and the Prime Minister was so kind to our three children, that Ewan came up to me afterwards and he said, "Dad, you know, I think maybe I could live in India." But I think after about 90 minutes in the Jaipur Sun today at the Great Palace, he suggested that maybe we should move to England. So you take the good with the bad here. But I want to talk about Prime Minister Modi because I think he's a special person. I first met Prime Minister Modi at the AI Action Summit in February, and we had a lot of important discussions on AI and other policies to prepare for. The Prime Minister also managed to figure out that my son Vivek was actually turning 5 years old on the trip. This was in Paris just a couple of months ago. So think about this. Amid a huge international policy conference, he took the time to stop by where I was staying, wish our second son, Vivek, a happy birthday, and even bring him a gift. Ush and I were both genuinely touched by his graciousness, and we've been even more impressed by his warmth since we arrived in India. Now, it's interesting. Some of you may know that when you're a politician, your kids spend almost as much time in the limelight as you do, and the great things about kids is they're brutally honest. They're brutally honest with everybody, whether you want them to be or not. And our 7-year-old, our 5-year-old, and our 3-year-old baby girl, Mirabelle, it's interesting. They have only really attached themselves to, they've only really liked, I should say, they've only really built a rapport with two world leaders. The first, of course, is President Trump. He just has a certain energy about him. But Prime Minister Modi, it's the exact same thing. Our kids just like him. And I think that because kids are such good, strong of characters, I just like Prime Minister Modi too. And I think it's a great foundation for the future of our relationship. I could tell when Prime Minister Modi came over a couple of months ago, and I believe today that he is a serious leader who has thought deeply about India's future prosperity and security, not just for the rest of his time in office, but over the next century. And I want to end by making a simple, overarching point. We are now officially 1/4 into the 21st century, 25 years in 75 years to go. And I really believe that the future of the 21st century is going to be determined by the strength of the United States-India partnership. I believe, thank you. I believe that if India and the United States work together successfully, we are going to see a 21st century that is prosperous and peaceful. But I also believe that if we fail to work together successfully, the 21st century could be a very dark time for all of humanity. So I want to say it's clear to me, as it is to most observers, that President Trump, of course, intends to rebalance America's economic relationship with the rest of the world. That's going to fundamentally will cause profound changes within our borders in the United States, but of course with other countries as well. But I believe that this rebalancing is going to produce great benefits for American workers. It's going to produce great benefits for the people of India. And because our partnership is so important to the future of the world, I believe President Trump's efforts, joined, of course, by the whole country of India and Prime Minister Modi, will make the 21st century the best century in human history. Let's do it together. God bless you, and thank you for having me.
Okay. Well, that is a rare treat. We don't typically get to join in progress live comments, particularly live comments from our leaders like President Trump or Vice President Vance. Vice President Vance in India, speaking live there on the Chris Stigall Show this morning. Thanks a lot for joining us again. If you're just tuning in or you're just checking it out, you're like, what's going on here? Yeah, Vance is in India speaking today, and it was an intriguing speech. I'm glad we joined it because Vance is a guy, first of all, to keep a sharp eye on, obviously, because he's probably going to run after Trump's term here and try to take over. And in doing so, Vance making the case on the global stage, I would argue right now, making the better case on the global stage than even President Trump. I think that he is the best card Trump has to play internationally, and Trump continues to play it, sending him out. And he gives these barn burner presentations everywhere he goes. The Munich speech being the most significant I think he's given to date. I think maybe one of the most significant American speeches I've ever seen on foreign soil. Truth be told, what he said in Munich. But this speech is right up there. It's very, very interesting what he had to say. And I was actually going to talk a little about the economy this morning, so I'm glad to listen in. It is abundantly clear that J.D. Vance and the White House broadly are trying to communicate to India, hey guys, you, us, right now, we got to be right here, arm in arm together, because your neighbors, they're coming at us. And they don't mean us well. In fact, I have a headline today in front of me. China vows to punish countries that agree to Trump trade deals. Why do you think J.D. Vance is in India this morning delivering these remarks and so lovingly commenting to the people of India that we want a partnership? He said, I think the future of the 21st century, we're a quarter into the 21st century. The next 75 years are going to be determined by the strength of our partnership. That is the United States and India. Now, this is meant, I believe, as a direct shot at India's neighbors, China. Obviously, we're in the middle of massive global trade discussions right now with each country. Yes, he's trying to further the discussion with Modi and the Indian government to make sure the trade imbalance doesn't exist between the two countries. He's also talking about the energy opportunities, the development, the growth, the defense manufacturing that we can engage in on behalf of India to protect their borders and their shores. This is a big one. I think it's a far bigger speech. A lot of people kind of shrug their shoulders and think vice presidents are kind of sent off to give speeches in foreign countries, and they're really not of much consequence. J.D. Vance is maybe the most consequential vice president we've seen in a very, very long time. And what Trump is trying to do in realigning the world, Vance is going to have a huge part to play in that.
For full shows, live and on demand, it's Salem News Channel.